Welcome to World Unity Week and our room journeys into New Earth frequencies and sacred geometry. Antonia and I are incredibly honored to introduce to you these two amazing people who are presenting to us today. And let's get to know them. Andrew Cameron Bailey and Connie Baxter Marlow are original thinkers, writers, photographers, filmmakers, futurists, and public speakers. Their exploration into the nature of reality have led to a unique articulation of the conscious, loving, abundant nature of the universe. Their book, The Trust Frequency, 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm, presents a system of cosmological axioms informed by indigenous cosmology, unified physics, and Eastern and Western mysticism, which resolves key paradoxes that have kept humanity from walking in balance with universal law and with an open heart. They offer straightforward, practical tools for assessing the trust frequency, an alternative reality where the soul's destiny awaits, the laws are expanded, and there is more balance, beauty, joy, and abundance than we can fathom. They believe the only way out of humanity's current challenges is up, to a higher level of consciousness through a deeper understanding of the nature of the universe. Connie's insights come from her experiences over 30 years with visionary Native American elders, her ancestry of philanthropic politicians who championed the earth, water, animals, and women, and her own access to a higher frequency. Andrew's experiences growing up in South Africa amongst the Zulu, teaching organic chemistry in college, seeking cosmic consciousness in the 70s in California, studying with the forerunners of the consciousness expansion movement, and as a Sufi practitioner, have contributed to his broad understanding that complements and brings depth and breadth to Connie's eagle perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. It's wonderful to be here with you and Journeys to New Earth Frequencies, you and Antonia, who are brilliant, bringing such brilliance to this conversation. And so we will start with our stories a bit, because we are seeing into the nature of the universe through our experiences and our connections with the indigenous peoples who've come into our lives, and our attraction to this higher frequency that is manifesting on the planet now. We've both been, maybe we were born with that predilection to seeing it and feeling it and being it, because we've both been on this journey for a long time. And for me, I started in my teens. I wondered, what is missing in the paradigm that has us out of balance? I saw through Florence Nightingale, I had a vision, I had an understanding that through the love that she manifested, that the human heart is carrying so much love. And why aren't we actualizing that love? Why aren't we walking in alignment with it? So, and I saw that the paradigm that we are operating under couldn't explain everything. And so I asked, what are the missing pieces of the paradigm, so that paranormal and things that people experience would be understood in the paradigm. And I looked in Europe. I went to Europe after college, and I looked and looked for a different way of thinking. And all I saw was the same way of thinking, because the European mentality and understanding came over here with my ancestors, actually, on the Mayflower. They were visionaries themselves, which people don't understand, and we'll discuss that soon. But meanwhile, we all are in this frequency, in this paradigm of the reductionist science paradigm. And what I saw through these Native American elders who came into my life in the 90s as I was asking these questions, because the answers you get depend on the questions you ask. So just know that. And so these elders started coming into my life, and I saw this extraordinary way of being and seeing and understanding and connectivity to the universe and to all things. I mean, just the way the words, they put their words together just opened my heart and let me see that what they're carrying is in fact the true nature of the universe, or at least clues to it that they're carrying for us. And so that became my life journey, is to share what visionary elders know about the nature of the universe, what the indigenous peoples know about the nature of the universe. And so that's been my journey over the past 30 years. And fortunately, I met this man 20 years ago. And in our first conversation, I saw that he shares this interest in cosmology, in humanity's consciousness. And come to find out, he also shared a triggered response into understanding the nature of the universe through indigenous peoples. You want to tell your story?
I could do that. So firstly, I'd quickly like to just acknowledge that today is what those of us here in the Northern Hemisphere regard as the summer solstice. Where I'm from, which is down under, but in South Africa, people think down under is Australia, New Zealand, but it's also Southern Africa. And it is the longest night and the shortest day and the winter solstice. So just looking at this planet from the perspective of balance and recognizing where we are, I'll lead us through a little meditation. We'll go there. We'll have a sort of an experience of what it is to be Mama Gaia, this planet, to be a conscious entity in space. Okay.
And someone needs to mute. There's some little background noise, so if everyone could mute. And also, I failed to acknowledge the original caretakers of the land here in Loveland, Colorado, the Cheyenne and Arapaho people. And so I just want to take a moment and honor them for their job as the original caretakers of this land. Thank you.
And down under, I had some experiences as well, as Connie mentioned. As Janice mentioned in the introduction, growing up among the Zulus, I grew up among an African tribal community who were just beautiful, beautiful people. They were very, just to be a little white boy in the middle of all these, we were very much outnumbered by the black folks. And it was quite lovely. And it was the time of apartheid, but it was sort of before, if you will, before the changes. So it was a safe time, which is no longer safe there. So, but that's a whole other story. So growing up into college, I'm a science guy, so I started teaching chemistry. And at the time I became a chemistry teacher in a local college, I had realized that I was actually more interested in humanity and this phenomenon on this planet of our species and how we lived and our challenges and so on. And so I did a whole new concentration in social anthropology, which is the study of living communities of humans. And a big part of that was comparative religion. So at the age of 14, I'd been introduced by a schoolmate to Zen Buddhism, of all things, and started taking an active interest in meditation, consciousness. At the time, I was completely and totally ignorant, as were all of my classmates, on these subjects, but this little seed was planted. And by 4 or 5 years later, I found myself in the middle of a course on comparative religion. And I was interested in what the world's indigenous people, or the world's original people, or those still connected to the earth, I was interested in knowing what their vision was, because they've been here for a whole lot longer than we white Westerners in our current form. We're all indigenous back in the day, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago. We all have those same roots, but we've probably lost something along the way as we got into the sort of reductionist science and all the rest of that. So here's what I'd like to mention about the Australians, acknowledging them on their darkest day at the moment, which is the midwinter, the winter solstice. And that's that in this course on the cosmology of the Australian Aboriginal people, I'm studying this, I'm reading it, and there's something about it that's ringing a bell, not from a past lifetime or something, but ringing a pretty recent bell. And all of a sudden I realized that what I was hearing was quantum physics. Now, I was a recent graduate in physics, among other chemistry, mathematics, and physics were my majors. So I was supposed to know something about this newish phenomenon called quantum physics. And I honestly knew very little. I knew enough to scrape through an exam, but I did not really get it at the deepest, deep level. And I don't believe I ever had a professor who did. So if your professor doesn't get it, you're not going to get it. That's just the way it was, right? But I'd learned something. I'd listened and so here I'm reading this whole other thing, which is this very mysterious experience of being in the dream time. In the dream time, this place where there's no past, there's no future, there's only the present. Everything is alive, everything's breathing, everything's changing, everything's coming into being. And it's literally described as a dream. And I suddenly realized that what I was reading rather, was pure poetic quantum physics from one of the world's oldest communities. So that sort of lit me up back in the day, and I'm still on that same track. And here I am, newlywed to this young lady, and here we are presenting materials that are totally intimately related to what I experienced back then in South Africa.
And for me, which I didn't mention, when I had been with these visionary elders for many years, and then someone said to me, have you read the book, The Holographic Universe? Well, 3 people said it to me, and the third person put it in my hands, and I actually read it. So those are all signs, and I actually read it, and there I saw the reality that Wallace Black Elk, the great Lakota elder, was describing and experiencing, and various other elders, Grandmother Bertha Grove of the Ute, and the Mayan elders, etc., that this quantum science was explaining what they're experiencing. And then what the bleep do we, I just put it on my screen and said, okay, very interesting. And then a year or so later, here comes What the Bleep Do We Know? The film. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess the consciousnness is ready to go there, to go into this quantum reality. And ever since then, it's just been evolving now as the frequency on the earth is shifting, and this quantum ability to heal and access quantum realities for all of us is happening now. And so it's just very exciting to be a part of this shift and a part of this knowing and bringing this information in a way that people, Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Mary, and Susie, can grok it, because it is what's living inside of us. It is us. And now the new physics is really bringing it forth even beyond quantum physics, the unified physics of Nassim Haramein and Greg Braden and Jude Currivan. We're going to be mentioning these folks in our talk. And our talk is entitled Shifting Frequencies, Indigenous Cosmology and Unified Physics. So let's, you're going to do the little meditation and set us up?
Sort of a little attunement, alignment experience.
And then we'll share screen and walk you through some stuff so you can grok this stuff in a simple way.
And then at the end, will we have some time for Q&A type of stuff, explorations?
Expect so.
All right, so I'd like to just ask you to join me. I'm going to sit up straight with my spine erect. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to go into the silence, and I'll add a few words to that silence as they come to me. What I'd like us to do is simply breathe and listen. And the loudest sound is the sound of our in-breath and our exhalation. And let's just breathe. Inhale. And exhale. And again, inhale. And let it go. And third time, inhale. And let it go. Here we are on this beautiful, beautiful day, on this beautiful, beautiful planet. Let's let go of any ideas that we may have related to the challenges the planet faces, climate, or anything that may concern us. Let it go. It'll be there when we come back. And let's go on a little gentle experiential journey of where we are at this very moment. We're on this planet that rotates and it wobbles. And as it wobbles, the North Pole, just to take one point on the planet, at times is further away from the sun and at times is closer to the sun. At this moment, the North Pole is the closest it gets all year to the sun, hence the summer solstice. And it's a system in a very interesting dynamic balance. It's constantly changing, constantly shifting, and yet always returning to the same points. So we know that this time next year, we'll be back around at the summer solstice, having gone through the other cycles. Interesting to be on this planet. What a phenomenon. And this, from space, it's this sort of blue-green little gem among the stars. And it's lit by the sun, so part of it is dark and part of it is light, depending on your perspective, the angle from which you're seeing it. And it has this iridescent glow to it that is caused by this very, very minimal veil of atmosphere that surrounds this planet. And this veil of air, as we call it, contains oxygen. And that oxygen is critical to the life we experience. We breathe oxygen. Other beings on the planet with us, such as the trees and the plants and the green growing things, they breathe out oxygen, they exhale oxygen. So it's this incredible dynamic of balance of part of the life on Earth exhaling and part of life on this Earth inhaling, and we're breathing each other's breath in this beautiful dance of love. Oof. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience to be a conscious human being in these beautiful bodies we have been gifted with. So let's just sit and marinate in that beauty for a moment. And when we're ready, just open our eyes and breathe, and let's go into our program for this wonderful, special day. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Andrew. Thank you for this beautiful earth that's actually shifting frequencies. And we are having to do our work to shift frequencies with her. And so shifting our assumptions about the nature of the universe and acting in accordance with a new way of seeing and being is our job right now. So we just want to give you some tools for doing that. And we're going to share screen and proceed. So there, let's see.
Don't forget to do the
No.
optimize for video. There it is. Oh, good.
Okay, here we are.
Shifting frequencies, indigenous cosmology, and unified physics. Now, those are some big terms, friends, and they're fun, and they're exciting, and they're enlightening, and they're practical, and they're important.
So let's see.
Oh, there we are.
And this is our book, The Trust Frequency, 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm. And we wrote it in 2012.
Actually, we published it in 2012.
Published it,
It took
yeah.
about 5 years to write.
Yeah, and Andrew actually wrote the book on this construct on the nature of the universe that I had put together after seeing and experiencing these indigenous peoples and this quantum science that was coming forth into my reality, and just what I see and what I know and what I've been shown that resonated with me, and I say, yes, that's it. That's the trust frequency. So, and Andrew came up with this
The new math. So we've all heard of E equals mc squared. So I was looking for a symbol that would represent mc squared. E equals mc squared is sort of an archetypal symbol, shall we say, of Western science, of the genius of human beings who can actually figure out these extraordinary things that are so deep and so mysterious, and they have such a I have a bachelor's degree in mathematics, so I speak the language very, very, very minimally, and it's quite extraordinary to just imagine someone like an Einstein who can actually figure this out. That's on the one hand, and on the other hand, the original peoples of the earth, those who have been sitting by the campfire under the stars for 100,000 years, possibly much more. We really don't know how long Homo sapiens has been consciously wondering about the nature of the universe. So a symbol to represent that, whatever wisdom was gathered, whatever knowledge, whatever beliefs, whatever experiences, whatever information were concentrated into the indigenous people, I was seeking a symbol. And we were living in Sedona, Arizona at the time in the Southwest, and everywhere in that part of the world is Kokopelli, this flute player, this
seed planter, the fertility.
This fertility
God.
deity, if you will. So selected that. So I just wanted to explain that. Why would it be Kokopelli equals mc squared? But what it means to me is the balance, the perfect balance between indigenous wisdom and not just Western science, but intellectual science, mathematics, physics, chemistry, which is now absolutely global. Yeah. So that's the new math. And there's another one I could tell you about, which is love equals mc squared, but we'll do that at another time.
Well, hold on.
What's going on?
Okay, yeah. So here's the new equation, another new equation.
Connie decided she's going to become a mathematician and write some equations down. So try this one.
So QR plus IC equals CLU, because what we're offering you is a synthesis of indigenous cosmology and quantum science. It's neither, it's both, it's something else. So quantum reality plus indigenous cosmology equals the conscious, loving universe. And we'll take you further into the conscious, loving universe as we proceed.
I think that's fun. Okay.
So we're going into an expanded paradigm.
So quantum mechanics and the new unified physics inform the Western paradigm and expand our understanding of the nature of the universe, which allows us to align with our hearts, our inner knowing, our pan-indigenousness. And I would say that pan-indigenousness is another Connie term, and I really love it.
For me, the pan-indigenous, what we're opening to now is our pan-indigenousness, our knowing, our hearts, what's sitting in there as far as our connectivity to all that is and to the love that we're carrying there. That the indigenous people that we call the indigenous peoples now have been carrying for us in their way of life, in their connectivity to this huge reality, this huge interconnectivity. It's astounding what they're carrying in their knowing. And so we're asking you, are you ready to move beyond duality? Right, wrong, good, evil, victim, perpetrator. I mean, we've all been in a lower frequency on the planet, and that's been a frequency of scarcity, of fear, of separation. So we've all four races of humans, no matter how high our understanding is, our highest understanding, that energy that's been on the planet that the earth was sitting in for millennia. Look, just think of all the horrific things we've been doing to each other, all four races, five races.
Well,
the white,
lots of races, but the colors.
The colors, sorry.
You're referring to the skin
the
colors.
colors, all four, five colors.
I think there's five. What about brown?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
About brown folks?
Yeah, exactly. Five colors. All the horrific stuff we've done, all of us. So it's not just one race and one color has done terrible things. It's all of us, and that's what we have to get beyond that victim perpetrator energy and knowing that we've all been responding to this lower frequency, and now we're moving up into our hearts. So it's so important that we heal and move beyond all that and allow this new frequency to come into our hearts and align with that and bring forth a new way of being. So, that went backwards.
Okay, so I think you'll agree that we're asking you, us, humanity, to take a very big leap. We've heard this idea of the shift or a quantum leap in consciousness or a new paradigm. So that's what we're talking about here, a paradigm that's actually more appropriate to humanity now, because a lot of the things that we believe and a lot of the things we base our lives and our actions on are actually erroneous, and at the very least outdated. They may have served us back in the past, but they probably didn't. But this was the belief system we inherited. So through indigenous cosmology and through Western thought and unified physics, we are able to distill a whole new vision of what it is to be alive, what it is to be a human. All right. So, Connie, would you like to?
Yeah. So this indigenous cosmology, everything has a purpose. Okay. The elders said to me, listen. So I listened. And this is what I heard. Everything has a purpose. And I said, okay, if everything has a purpose, then here we have Western thought saying God is everything, plus God is love. Then everything is love.
And love is everything.
And everything has a purpose. So every purpose has to be love.
And a really important thing from my perspective, indigenous cosmology means not only everything has a purpose, but everything is alive. It's that pan-psychism factor, that everything is alive, living, evolving, changing. A rock changes very slowly. A bacterium changes very swiftly. So we are in this very complex, but very, very inspiring, once we get into it, universe.
Yeah, and so this is tracking that shift beyond duality into understanding that everything is love. So which is what our paradigm, our 10 assumptions bring forth in our this construct that helps us to move beyond the victim perpetrator, good, evil, right, wrong reality.
And
So
I did mention that Connie and I are newlyweds, I think.
yeah,
And not talking about that kind of love, however. Note that the love on your screen is love with a capital L, and we'll get to that later. We have a completely different take or understanding or definition of the word love.
yeah.
So,
And so then unified physics is showing us that the universe is fractal and holographic, and that we create reality through the observer effect and quantum entanglement, et cetera, which we'll deal with,
through our consciousness.
which we'll go into.
Mm-hmm.
So in the trust frequency, there is in fact only love. We are the conscious loving universe.
Meaning we are so interconnected with all that is that we literally are the universe.
We're not only interconnected,
we seem to be.
We are it. It's fractal. It's holographic.
We appear to be in these separate bodies, but in fact, the entire universe is a field of energy of which we are an inextricable part.
Yes,
it's an amazing phenomenon. I'm still boggled.
Yeah, it's boggling. And so here's Rumi, who this wonderful quote of Rumi's that says, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense." You see, because he's seeing we're there. That veil that has separated has dissolved, and we see that we are one. There isn't even an each other, and it's out beyond the field of right, out beyond the right doing and wrongdoing. So we've got to get into that vibration beyond that energy of good, evil, right, wrong, victim, perpetrator, which is huge. It's the big leap that we have to take, and we're getting there. Many people are experiencing it and expressing it now. So we're talking about intercultural syntheses, the coming together of indigenous cosmology, quantum science, all of us coming together, all 5 colors of man coming together to bring about a new reality. And there have been 2 syntheses to date here in the United States, which many people I don't think are aware of, that we're bringing forth in our work with the founding of this nation. And that is the 54 years of peace and friendship between the Mayflower Pilgrim separatists and the Native Americans they lived amongst in Plymouth, what is now Plymouth, on Plymouth Plantation. And we're bringing forth the spiritual alignment of these 2 disparate groups of people who came together in this wilderness on the edge of the Turtle Island. And they came together and lived in peace and friendship because there was this spiritual alignment. The Pilgrims were seeking the right to act according to our conscience, our direct connection to the divine. And that is the way that the Native people relate to reality. They take their orders from the Creator. And so this first great synthesis gave birth to the American mind and spirit and democracy. And you can explore our work on that subject on our website, first50years.us. First 50 years.
First 50 years, but it's 50. First 50 years.us.
Yeah. So you can explore our work and our
I
films.
think Connie mentioned that her ancestors actually came over on the Mayflower, so she's actually talking about her bloodline, her DNA, who were present there. This is
and so really my coming together with the indigenous peoples in the 90s was really an ancestral mandate to bring this forth, this extraordinary time in American history. So and then the second great synthesis was the Iroquois contribution to the U.S. Constitution. There was an extraordinary amount of interaction between the Iroquois and the early settlers, the 13 colonies. And so the Iroquois were invited to the Constitutional Convention. There was just so much interaction that it's an influence on the Constitution, many aspects of the great law that was brought to the warring tribes of the Iroquois in the 1200s by the great peacemaker. He brought the great law, which is a system of governance, of autonomy of different aspects. We won't go into that, but it's a very definite influence on the US Constitution. Many people want to say the whole Constitution came out of the Great Law, and others want to say that there was no influence of the Great Law on the Constitution. And we take that middle ground and say, hey, guess what? It's very obvious.
It's a synthesis.
It's a synthesis.
Mm-hmm.
So we address that in our first 50 years project as well. So this is an expression of the democracy, the Iroquois perception of democracy by Oren Lyons.
Yeah. So Oren Lyons, you may or may not know, in upstate New York, is a wonderful, highly respected, what's his tribe?
Seneca.
He's from the Seneca, which is one of the Six Nations, and with the French named or called the Iroquois. So he says, in our perception, all life is equal, and that includes the birds, animals, things that grow, things that swim. All life is equal in our perception.
Yes, and when these elders came into my life and they were talking about the trees and the rocks, that they had two conversations with rocks. I mean, it just opened a whole new connectivity for me. And now there's Danalia is doing this listening field where she's bringing in the listening to the elders, so that because the nature elders are just waiting for us to connect with them. And as our frequency increases, we're getting more and more ability to do that, as well as with the extraterrestrials. We won't go into that at this point.
Not quite yet.
So here's the Hopi prophecy that speaks of the third great synthesis.
When birds fall from the sky and the animals are dying, sound familiar? A new tribe of people shall come unto the earth from many colors, classes, and creeds, who by their actions and deeds shall make the earth green again. They will be known as the warriors of the rainbow. Now, I think I might like to join that tribe. Yeah?
Yeah. So
and
here,
so that's the third great synthesis, a coming together that is in process as we speak.
As we access our hearts,
so
as this new frequency the earth is in pulls us forward into our hearts. And
the first one was way back in 1620. The next one was in the late 1700s. And the third one is right now. We're in the midst of it. So what we're sharing with you today is relevant to this third great synthesis, which will probably be done in another 100 years or so.
We can't call the timing. It's happening
We'll be looking
fast.
back at this and, remember those days?
And it's bringing forth humanity 2.0.
The next iteration of humanity. You remember Barbara Marx Hubbard and what she called us?
Humanity, Homo Universalis.
Homo Universalis.
So humanity 2.0.
The fully evolved human manifests the best features of all previous cultures. We are part of nature, not above it, aware of the scientific perspective, yet not ruled by it, tuned into a higher reality, yet fully present in the world. We move into unity consciousness, which brings forth something that has never been on the planet before and triggers an evolutionary leap for our species.
So that's what we're bringing you tools for, and that is for moving into this unity consciousness and this higher vibration. And here are the Bushmen of the Kalahari. Andrew's known the Bushmen of the Kalahari for many years.
Yeah, let me tell you one of the great delights of my life. I'd been working with the Bushmen for 5 or 6 years before Connie and I met back in 2003. And one of the first things I got to do, being from South Africa, is, of course, to take Connie to meet my mom and my family over there. And then we went up to the Kalahari to meet the Bushmen. And how was that for you?
Yeah, for me, I'll tell you, I have never been so loved on in my life as by the Kalahari Bushmen. They were just stroking me and loving on me. It was just so extraordinary. They're extraordinary people. They're carrying such a beautiful heart for humanity.
We don't even have a language in common. I could communicate a little using Dutch, but it's like the Dutch they speak is about 100-year-old Dutch. But I learned Afrikaans, which is current mutation of Dutch. So, yeah, we're able to communicate. But point being, Connie had no language in common with them. I had some.
So much love.
And yet the love, the language of love, what was communicated was so precious and powerful. And I see you're just so thrilled to this day.
Yeah.
20 years later.
And we have a film called In Search of the Future, What Do the Wise Ones Know? That opens in the Kalahari with these folks, with the trance dance of these folks. And we have many interviews with them because we were welcomed into their community because Andrew had known them for so long. So our film, you can access our film on insearchofthefuturemovie.com and enjoy that. And we're actually in the process of shooting a new film.
Yeah, somebody could put that in the chat if they like. In search of the futuremovie.com.
But here's a little quote from the Bushmen.
So listen to this for just total sweetness. Open your heart to others. When you do so, you will feel our spirit. It will make you dance and it will make you happy. And then you too will be a Bushman.
So beautiful.
Boy, talk about an inclusive worldview. And then the Australian Aboriginals. And their cosmology, how they see existence. We are all visitors to this time, this place. We are just passing through. Our purpose here is to observe, to learn, to grow, to love, and then we return home.
And with our sequel to In Search of the Future, What Do the Wise Ones Know? We're creating a film called In Search of the Future 2, The Only Way Out is Up. And we're planning to go to Australia to meet with the Bushmen, with the Aboriginals there. We have some deep connections with them. And we're planning to go there in January to bring their
opening
beauty
of the film. So we're doing it backwards in the sense that we're here in the States filming. We've filmed over 50 interviews for the film so far. And then when all of that's done and we've done everything we can do here, we go to Australia to film the beginning of the film, which is really cool. I love doing it.
And bringing their wisdom into it.
And that film will be done next summer.
Yeah.
So this time next year, summer solstice next year, we should have the film just about ready for release.
Right.
Yeah.
And so here we have the reductionist science. We're going from that beauty, that heart, that spirit, that interconnectivity to all that is, and the sacredness of all that is, into this reductionist science paradigm that's leaving the planet now, this mechanical clockwork universe that I believe was the final push to get humanity to that place where we could see that we were out of balance and we could take action, because now we're in a place where there's the collapse of all those systems that were built on a paradigm that was separate from universal law, that was separate from the human heart, the human spirit, and all the rest of creation. So it brought us incredible technological increases and abundance, apparent abundance, but it was just based on a dead universe. And how could that lead us to an open heart? There's just no way that anything lacking meaning and purpose could encourage the human to bring forth its beauty and its love that's sitting there armored in that human heart. Do you want to say anything about this mechanical clockwork universe, or should let's just go on?
I'm done with the mechanistic vision.
Okay, we'll let go of that one. So there's a new scientific paradigm.
But here's an interesting thing, because if you see the underlined section at the bottom, Dean Radin, PhD, you may know of him, you may not. He is the chief scientist at IONS, the Institute of Noetic Sciences, and someone we know quite well. We've been interacting with him for, God, 15, 17, 18 years. Anyway, this is a very, very serious scientist, but he studies astral phenomena, what do they call them? Phenomena, PSI. Yeah. So he's a real scientist, but this is what he says about the nature of the universe. It is known as a certainty that there exists an unimaginably powerful creator and sustainer of reality, and of you in particular. This creator is unborn, uncreated, undying, and unchanging. Interesting, because I tend to think that creator is constantly evolving, that creator comes from within, is emergent, is never the same, and is always, it's unchanging in one sense, but it's ever, shall we say, the manifestation of the creator is ever changing. Maybe the creator behind the scenes, but the creation is ever unfolding.
Yeah, and as aspects of the creator, as we evolve, we're evolving that energy and adding to it. So yeah, we keep at it, humanity. We're doing a very important job.
So that book of Dean's is worth reading, by the way, Supernormal.
And so here we have aspects of this quantum reality that we're just going to touch on. And that here is quantum entanglement.
The interconnectedness of all things at the most profound level. At the deepest, deepest, deepest level of existence, we are all completely, intimately connected at what is called the sub-Planckian level. The Planck unit is the tiniest, tiniest pixel of reality, of the universe, of the physical universe. And at that level, we are completely and totally connected by a ridiculous network of wormholes.
There's so much to it.
I mean,
but in fact, because it's fractal and holographic, we are it.
We are it, and and we are composed of it, and we change it. We can make agreements at that level that change reality for huge consequences, like butterfly effect.
Yeah, and the observer effect.
So when we show up, so all of the stuff's in potential. There's two. The physicist David Bohm described two realities, one of them being the implicate order, that which is hidden, that which is not yet seen, and the explicate order, that which has come into being. You could say on the one hand, the metaphysics and the physics, or the unmanifest and the manifest. And the difference between the two seems to have something to do with the observer effect, that once a consciousness becomes aware of something, that something comes into existence. It's not the other way around. It's really wild. In other words, nothing is real until it's seen. How can that be?
Yeah,
I mean, Einstein wasn't buying that
powerful.
one, but it's been proven to be true.
Yeah, and now there's the hollow movement. You can go to thehollowmovement.org, and there's a whole hollow movement based on Bohm's understanding of the flow from the explicate to the implicate order.
No, from the implicate to the explicate.
From the implicate to
from
the
the inner
explicate.
to the outer, darling.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, you can go to that website, and there's also so much quantum healing that's going on, and we're working with Maureen Edwardson, who is has a process, a protocol called inner resonance technologies that take us into this quantum reality where we can change our reality. We can shift our observer aspect and go into allowing our true nature to manifest, our infinite selves to manifest in total health.
Yeah,
So
Maureen actually told me how healing happens. What is the actual mechanism from the physics standpoint? It is an agreement that we make at that very profound, deep, deep, deep sub-Planckian level.
Which is related to this observer effect.
Which is indeed.
Where we put our attention.
Yeah.
So, yes, and so we've been talking about the oneness of creation. And here's a beautiful graphic to just get lost in
the
the
dance of
Yeah.
reality. Mm,
So we're saying it's a conscious universe.
that's me in a past lifetime as I dived into the wormhole.
We're saying it's a loving universe.
Mhm.
And here we have Wallace Black Elk. This isn't Wallace. This is our friend Sally Ranney, who's
Who, by the way, wrote the foreword to the Trust Frequency book, and it's a phenomenal statement of the link between consciousness and climate. She's a climate activist.
Yeah, and top notch. Anyway, here she is introducing Wallace, and this was back in the 90s when I first came in contact with Wallace.
Acquiescing to all my relations, and I thank you to each and everyone here in the television world. And it's about time we all come to focus our mind universally, because I speak from the universe of minds. And the way we're born with love, kindness, generosity, and giving. So we're born with love. So the love in itself is God, and love is mother. So mother is love, and God is love, and so on. So I think this is the way we should teach our children.
So yes, it's all love, straight from the Wallace Black Elk. And here we have Jude Currivan, who is a physicist and cosmologist, and speaking on the science of love. And she has a PhD in archaeology and a master's in physics, and she is a way shower with this understanding of the unitive consciousness and the science of love. So here she is.
The author of The Cosmic Hologram, among other accomplishments.
This is why I feel this is such an incredibly important time, because this convergence of science and spirituality actually includes and transcends both. So this is a cosmology of consciousness. This is literally a science of love. This is holding us in a unifying framework where everything in existence matters, where everything in existence has meaning and purpose, and we are the agents. We are the heads and hearts and hands of its evolutionary impulse.
Yes, Jude, because we're waiting because science can't prove the love. That has to come from the human heart. But for her to express it like this just says we're on the right track, calling it a conscious, loving universe, that the science is going to get there.
This is...
Oops. So everything is vibration. Here's a beautiful example of this vibration. And we create reality by the power of our consciousness.
Which is one of those 10 assumptions. We're going to tell you about the 10 assumptions in a moment. And one of them is that we create reality by the power of our consciousness. In other words, we have agency. We are agents, as Jude just said. We are capable of amazing things far beyond what we were trained to believe.
And here is Nassim Haramein. I took this from a live talk that he gave because I'm always looking for justifications of this construct that we'll be bringing you shortly with these 10 assumptions.
Validations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Anyway. Justifications for that.
Justifications, validations, justifications. Yeah. When you change in consciousness, that means the antenna of your body is more coherent, finely tuned to get more information out of the field. It's getting more of the high frequencies where there is more information. It's more coherent, so you can get channels you couldn't get before. Okay, so this is so exciting that we're getting channels we couldn't get before. So no shame, no blame, humanity. You know, we operated on the information we had, And we've done a great job, and we've transmuted those energies of fear and separation and scarcity for all of creation. All of creation is awaiting that love in the human heart for us to melt that ice around our hearts, because that energetic, because we are the universe, that energetic shift is going to shift the universe. So it's all very exciting and a lot of responsibility for us. So
Shifting frequencies, is that the title of this talk?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. So fundamentally, everything is vibration or frequency, same thing. Listen to this. We are conscious electromagnetic loving beings in a conscious electromagnetic loving abundant universe. Digest that one for a moment. I'll say it again. We are conscious electromagnetic loving beings in a conscious electromagnetic loving abundant universe. That's the reality we are talking about. And as apparently separate entities in these beautiful bodies of ours, we have this ability. We can choose our frequency. And by choosing our frequency, it actually is a way that we choose our reality. Different frequencies result in different realities. The laws are expanded in the higher frequencies. And then, we'll talk more about this, the 7 A's, the letter A, the 7 A's of consciousness are our, Connie calls them our requests to the universe. How do we ask the universe for what we would like to manifest? Through our consciousness. And consciousness has 7, we've chosen 7 attributes. There are others, but that begin with the letter A. We'll talk more about them. But the point is that those requests determine our frequency, and our frequency determines our reality. If we're in a deep, dark, depressed, suicidal frequency, boy, we're not going to manifest what we're going to manifest if we're in a joyful, ecstatic, loving, open, faith, trust-based universe, right?
Yeah.
It's completely different, and it's simply consciousness and the ability we have to change our consciousness. If I'm down in the dumps, I can change that. So
Yeah. So here are our 7 A's, 7 aspects of our consciousness that begin with the letter A. And here they are in one sentence. And pay attention to the modifiers of those 7 A's. With expanded awareness and accurate assumptions, we choose our attitude, consciously direct our attention, align with our highest inner promptings or highest intuition, take committed action, that's the kicker, we have to act from that place, and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams.
So there's
That's a little toolkit.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
operating manual, I was going to say, for the human biocomputer. If we can run according to those principles, we have power.
Yeah. And here's the bold, committed action piece. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth that the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. This is attributed to Goethe. He didn't actually write this. It was written by W.H. Murray, a Scottish mountaineer. But this is very important. This is one of the triggers for my knowing that when we shift our frequency, the laws are expanded. It's a whole new ball game. And when he says providence moves too, it's not providence who's moving. It's us who's moving into a higher frequency. So That's our interpretation of that. And then Henry David Thoreau, in his conclusion to Walden, expresses it in another way.
I learned this at least by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours.
Hold on.
Come it up there. There we go. He will put some things behind, will pass an invisible boundary. New, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him.
Sorry.
Or the old laws will be expanded and interpreted in his favor in a more liberal sense, and he will live with the license of a higher order of beings.
So those two quotes are bookend quotes for our trust frequency construct. The old laws will be expanded and interpreted in his favor, and he will live with the license of a higher order of beings. So here we go. That as we increase in frequency, the laws are expanded. And here is Wallace again speaking about trust.
Oh. There it is.
So, grandfather, it is the doubt that has created the reality that we live in now, and it has we're unable to understand other realities that and the knowings that you have about the real nature of the universe. It's this doubt that has been the problem from the beginning.
Yes, it was told that pollution begins in the mind. For having a doubt against a creature, so first, second, or third, that doubt will visit you. So we're in the third generation, and so we could see that doubt is here. So that doubt goes around in the universe of mind. Then what it does, it casts shadow of fear. So everything turned wild.
Because we have choice, is it too late to change the course?
No, we got one more to go yet. Remember, 4 times. And the 4th time I'm going to come back and I'm going to check up on you guys. So we got a little ways to go yet. So we already passed 3 and we got one more to go. So we still have a little time left. So that's why we're here. We're going to take every split second and to tell each other that we should all come back together. We still have that chance. So we have to come back and try to understand the fire, the rock, the water, and green. And then once we all understand, it has to be unanimous. Now we're going to escape from our own self-destruction. So the whole world will turn green again, and we could live here forever. We have to stop abusing. Then for doing so, they say if we put that fire back, they say as soon as you touch the earth, there'll be a flash of light and canopy the whole universe, and all the sickness that are incurable would be destroyed, not people. And even our dead will resurrect from death. So it'll be total victory. So it is possible that we could regain what we lost. This is the way we were told. Every step you take is a prayer. You have to live with it, walk with it. Not just say a bunch of Hail Marys and walk across the street and back to beer joints and play golf and win a roast and marshmallow. It's not that way. You have to live, walk with it. Mm-hmm. Your life.
Yeah.
You have to walk because Tagashla is watching you. Mm-hmm. And with this power here, that will is in you. That Chanimpa is you.
So yes, we have to walk it. We have to take that bold, committed action. So yes, Wallace, and doubt has plagued us. So trust is the key. And so here's a little graphic of the conscious loving
Is
universe.
that the Heart Nebula? And
Yeah.
does it really look like that? That's amazing.
And here's another
Here's
graphic
planet Earth.
of the
This is
conscious
where I
loving
like to be.
universe. Yeah.
I'm a underwater person in the Indian Ocean, so that picture's.
So here's our 10 assumptions. We're going to
Ooh.
run through these. We've addressed them. We've talked about them. We've given you an overview, and we'll just go through the 10 assumptions. We'll put in the chat that we've got 15 minutes or so. So we'll move right along.
So we've been going for
So
53
here we
minutes
are.
so far, yeah?
So here we are. We live in a conscious, loving universe. There is only love. Now that sets up a paradox, because what about all those things we see as not love? The war, famine, abuse, all those things we see as not love. And the reason we have a paradox around that is because we don't understand the nature of that love. And our second assumption is that
the universe loves us unconditionally. It gives us everything we ask for.
Okay.
And that's
so,
a paradox in its own right, because
okay.
that's not what we experience necessarily.
Well, it's not, but we don't understand what our requests are.
Or what the mechanism
But
is, yeah.
that quality of unconditional love, that is the love that drives all things, is unconditional. And it means it gives us everything we ask for, which is a different definition of unconditional love. So we have our third assumption.
We create reality by the power of our consciousness, remember?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what are our requests to this conscious, loving universe?
Sounds like the 7 A's to
The
me.
7 A's of consciousness.
Awareness,
Yeah.
assumption, attitude, attention, alignment, action, and allowing determine our frequency and are our requests to the loving universe. In other words, our state of consciousness is what determines the reality that comes to us.
Yes. And our fifth assumption, free will is an absolute law of the universe. We choose our frequency. We are masters of our own destiny. And with this assumption, I was trying to resolve the paradox of determinism and free will. And what came to me was that we give an overarching act of free will when we incarnate on Earth. And this is in our definitions. We have several definitions that we don't go into in this talk, but our definition of humanity is that we are a collection of divine, autonomous, sovereign beings who have chosen to incarnate on Earth on our soul's journey to wholeness, self-love, self-acceptance, alignment with our divinity and our purpose. So we have chosen, we gave an overarching act of free will to go on a journey on this planet. So we gave permission to the conscious loving universe to take us on this journey to self-love and self-acceptance and alignment with our divinity and purpose. So we deal with this in our course, The Dance of Souls, because we take you out of the victim, feeling victimized by circumstance and by people in your lives, to understand that we are beloved, that we chose this journey, and that we're actually magnetizing behaviors in others to show us the parts of ourselves we don't love yet. And the others show us our light and our shadow. So that's a big piece that we're bringing to the party with our course. And hopefully somebody's putting it in the chat that where you can access our course and go through this process of shifting from victim to beloved. So here we go with the sixth assumption.
Circumstance guides us on our journey to wholeness. So circumstance, there are those of us who may at times have felt like we're victims of circumstance, but what's interesting is circumstance is our guide. Circumstance loves us. So we're actually beneficiaries of circumstance, not victims. That totally changes the whole paradigm.
Yeah, in fact, circumstance loves us more than we do, because we think we want to go in one direction that our society has told us that have to go to be successful and to be loved and accepted. And we told the universe, hey, we're going to the universe to bring a gift to the party. We're going to bring us to the party. We're going to come to self-love, and we're going to bring all of us to this process of humanity transmuting these energies and moving into a higher frequency. So circumstance takes us there. And we feel like we're a victim of circumstance, when in fact it's loving us and doing what we told it to do with our free will. Because the universe, we are the loving universe, and it is a experiential place of a journey to wholeness and self-love. So here's the seventh assumption.
There is only now, this precious present moment. Living trustingly in the now, we experience the true nature of the universe.
This is the gateway to the trust frequency. And as we're losing our memories and all that, we're moving into the now. We can't remember what we did yesterday, and we can't remember what we're supposed to do tomorrow. So where are we? We're in the now, this precious present moment. So yes, this is the gateway. And
the eighth assumption, all of creation is one. Separation is a man-made illusion. We are the conscious, loving universe.
so we've dealt with that with all this scientific stuff that we've addressed prior. And here's the ninth assumption. Humanity is on an evolutionary upward spiral leading inexorably to a higher reality, the trust frequency, heaven on earth. And we didn't mention at the outset that we ask you to take these assumptions as absolutely true for this exercise. Because if there's any buts or what ifs, one doesn't see it, doesn't experience it as absolute. This is absolutely true. There is only love. There is only free will. Okay, so we ask you to take that as absolutely true and see how that shifts your reality. And just, it's not just now it's love and now it's not love. Hey, guess what? It's all love. So here's the 10th assumption.
Finally, the 10th assumption. The trust frequency is a real place of unfathomable joy, peace, and abundance that is freely available to anyone, anywhere, anytime.
So,
and those assumptions, 10 of them put together, form a whole new paradigm for a reality that's probably radically different from the one that we're currently living from, the one we were raised in.
absolutely. Not probably, absolutely.
Well, you never know.
And we can each choose our reality. So the laws are expanded for us as we move into absolute trust, as we walk it, and we start to experience a new total reality. So it takes some doing, and it takes some practice and some doing, but these are tools for getting there.
They change everything. It really makes a difference. So here's something Connie mentioned a little while ago. As we make this move from victim to beloved, humanity, think of ourselves as a collection of divine, autonomous, sovereign beings who have chosen to incarnate on earth to learn and grow on their soul's journey to wholeness, self-love, self-acceptance, and alignment with their divinity, purpose, and gift.
Yeah.
That you will not find that definition of humanity in the dictionary. It's the way we see it, however.
So, yes, in the dance of souls that I mentioned, there is only love, there is only free will, and there is only the soul's journey to wholeness. So this is our online course, and we move from victim to beloved through this understanding. And this is applying the trust frequency to our relationships with ourselves, others, and the universe. So we gave an overarching act of free will. We gave permission to the universe to take us on our journey, and our relationships are showing us our light and our shadow, those parts of ourselves we don't love yet. So just reiterating that. understanding for you to take home and shift your perception of your relationships and your place in the universe. So everything happens for us, not to us. We shift from victim to beloved. And this is our Dance of Souls course that
The
is
relationship revolution.
that you can go to thetrustfrequency.net and go to the Dance of Souls and join
Find
us
out
in this
why we
online.
Find out why we come together in relationships. It's
Yeah.
a mirror for us. Each person in our lives is someone who's showed up to basically teach us and inspire us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every experience, everything happens for us, not to us, and ultimately through us and as us. But it's just key to lift into this vibration and out of that victim perpetrator energy. So release the love. Yes.
And release the love again.
Yes. Release it. Let it go.
The
Open that heart.
The more you let go, the more comes in.
Exactly. And here we have the trust frequency. Trust replaces fear. Ease replaces struggle. Generosity replaces hoarding. Abundance replaces scarcity. Unity replaces separation. New systems develop. New relationships replace outmoded ways of being. An understanding of the interconnectedness and sacredness of all things emerges. It is in this way that true peace and profound freedom will come to prevail on earth in this higher frequency. And then we just want to touch on the indigenous worldview that we're moving into as we connect with our hearts in this third great synthesis. There's a respect and reverence for all of life.
The interrelatedness of all things and actions.
There's the understanding of the co-creative power of thought.
Concern for future aspects of present action.
And living in balance.
Concern for the common good.
And trust in a higher power.
Incorporation of metaphysical into physical reality.
And equality of all aspects of life.
Sharing.
And cooperation. These are principles that I came to see in this article written by Donald Fisico, a scholar and professor at the University of Arizona, Northern Arizona. And this article was called The Call for Native Genius and Indigenous Intellectualism. And that's what I saw through Wallace and through these elders. I saw the brilliant mind that is at the core of this heart-centered connection to all that is. And so those aspects come out of his article. And the laws are expanded as we move into this way of being and way of knowing and this frequency and vibration. And we move, this is a little graphic to show us that when we understand that it's a conscious universe, that it's all love, that there's only free will, we're on an upward spiral in a timeless universe, and that there's only one, we move up, our frequency up, and we understand that there's meaning to everything, that everything is okay, that we're powerful and we can trust it. And there's infinite balance and cooperation, that this brings about a new way of behaving and understanding. And we leave behind that old paradigm of separation where there's determinism and destruction, and it's a mechanistic universe, and it's not love, it's not a loving universe, and we're just tied up in the time bound. Yeah, exactly, and that's a lower frequency. And this leads to conflict and helplessness and victim and powerlessness and fear and anxiety. So doesn't that kind of describe our reality right now that we're moving out of? Yes. So we are a fractal holographic universe. We are all one. We are all connected.
Yes, we are.
And this is the James Webb Telescope of the universe.
A reason to photographs that's come back to us.
And here, look at this. And here, the
beautiful
same
Nautilus.
design, because it is fractal universe. So we just say to you all, trust the loving universe. This is the Heart Nebula. And here's how you can reach us. Our trustfrequency.net and our Dance of Souls course and our Conscious Loving Universe. We have an online ebook. It's free. It's called The Conscious Loving Universe, a guidebook. And that's our book, which you can get online and get from us. We prefer it if you get it from us. You get some extra goodies, and you can get it from our trustfrequency.net website. So that's it, folks.
Okay.
So I'll stop screen sharing. Do you have any last words you want to say?
No, that's great. Let's go to live and see if anybody wants to interact.
Yeah, okay, so I'll stop the share.
And thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. And we're just wondering if anybody has any thoughts or questions or
Anything in the chat?
I don't know.
Where is the chat at? Is it hiding? Mm-hmm.
There's a few.
Oh, there you go.
Anybody have any thoughts or questions?
Seeing anything there?
No.
They're just links. Okay.
So
So in the chat, friends, is a collection of links to our work, and please track us down and be in touch, because we'd love to know who you are, what you think, how this is working for you.
yeah, we'd love to bring on Maureen Edwardson. She's here. We do work with her inner resonance technologies. Maureen, do you have anything you want to say? I wanted to bring you on as a, I guess I can't.
You have to change your status in some way.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm here.
Yeah, I wanted to spotlight
We
you and
want to
bring
see
you on.
Where are you?
Janice, can you spotlight her?
Yeah, there
Yes,
she
there
is.
Hi, Maureen.
Hello. Thank you.
Tell us a little about inner resonance technologies.
Well, this is just such a wonderful presentation, and you always do an outstanding job, and just so appreciate being such great friends and collaborators with you both, and how IRT, Inner Resonance Technologies, collaborates with Connie and Andrew in the trust frequency, and the 10 assumptions for a new paradigm, a new earth, is that IRT is a formula of questions that activate that part of you that knows everything, knows the truth of who you are as love, and allows a very fast track. It's like a Trojan horse that goes straight to the center of your heart, and then all heaven breaks loose. In other words, all of the old programs, all the old shadows, the doubt that keeps us out, get automatically dissolved in the field of informational patterns of energy, where all of this memory is stored that interferes with us unnecessarily. And so it's a gift, because it's a fast track. It's not a bypass. It allows our superconscious higher self to go in and neutralize in that quantum field of potential where everything exists simultaneously, and all the wisdom of what's appropriate and in your best good for your particular journey at this moment. Anything that's no longer relevant or necessary for that gets automatically neutralized and dissolved in patterns of informational energy, as I said. So it doesn't interfere with anything that you're here to experience from your soul's choice. However, it clears all the muck and the mud and the difficulty that's really not relevant to getting to the nub of where you're here to engage and have your journey to wholeness. So it just makes everything easier and faster. It's an accelerator of what's appropriate in your highest good. And nothing I do to or for you, but the protocol itself allows you to catalyze that part of you that already knows what's your greatest good and what no longer needs to limit you unnecessarily.
Well, that's so exciting. And you've been at this for a long time, and Bruce Lipton supports you and has you on his website to refer people to you for this process, because it's so key now, because everyone is like, okay, I'm ready. I want to do this thing. And you've been at it for a long time and developed this over many years. And like us, you know, waiting for this time when humanity is just really ready to do this thing. So,
and it's here now, and it's here now, and we don't have the time anymore to, you know, unravel each strand. You know, we need to accelerate our consciousness and come together for solutions for this one precious planet that we are here to help shift, and it's now. Yeah, and so let's just speed it up. That's what Bruce loves about my work. He loves the acronym IRT, because he says it's like the New York subway system, interurban rapid transit. We need faster ways. He said, we don't have the time. We're at the brink, you know, and hey, let's just do everything we can and remember who we are as quantum spiritual beings with license to shift.
exactly. So
Maureen.
great.
Thank you
So
so
thanks
much.
for joining us.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah. So I guess it's time now to close,
Unless there's anyone else.
unless there's anyone
Judith?
else. Anyone else that want to?
Just
Janet?
just thank you so much. And anybody want to make a comment? You have to unmute.
There's Janice.
Okay.
Janice?
Thank you so much. I've been in one of Maureen's sessions, and all I can say is, wow. A rapid transit is true. I can definitely support that and attest to its efficiency and incredible result. And
thank you, Janice. And I just want to offer out to anyone here that's on this particular call, if you go to my website, maureenedwardson.com, and say, you know, Janice Coyle or you know, Connie and Andrew or World Unity Week, you know, is good enough, then I would love to gift you. I'd love to gift you a complimentary session, a whole session, because that's my joy.
Yeah, and in the future, we're going to be offering a course, an online course with Maureen as things unfold, because she really clears the track for the trust frequency, so we can take in these 10 assumptions and really live them and act from that place, because it takes some doing to get there.
Yeah, it clears any unnecessary resistance and any static that's not relevant. So that's why it's helpful.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Connie and Andrew. Oh my goodness, are you on the same wavelength as we are here?
Yeah.
And we all are, really. Thank you so much. It's just
Thank
great
you so
information.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a frequency thing.
Yes.
And so we're all being brought together to catalyze this shift, because it has to be a synergistic coming together with
Yes.
all people, to all people's gifts, to put this jigsaw puzzle together so we can see this full picture of what wants to emerge
Yes.
from the love that's in our hearts and the gifts we promise to bring to this party.
And thank you to Antonia as well. Thank you.
Yes, Antonia, for your work, both of your work. So thank you so much.
Onward and upward.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Peace
Thank
on
you.
earth and heaven on earth.
Continued.
Yes.
So would Antonia and Janice like to advertise their next sessions, because their work is brilliant? And Antonia, I just love your sacred geometry that, you know, came through you as you, and what a beautiful gift. And Janice, your presentation's happening Friday, I believe, as well. And maybe today's, have they happened already? I hope not. I missed them if so, but I'll catch the replays. And yeah, and anyway, all the presentations on your channel here, your journeys to frequencies and sacred geometry are going to be on your YouTube channel, right?
Yes, that's correct. By July 1st, that's our.
And what's the name of that channel again?
I have it on the website. It's not a short thing. Look on the website, the World Unity Week website, and go to our room, and it'll be right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so your sessions if there's time.
Well, I wanted to also point out that starting at 4:30 will be Hope Fitzgerald, who just checked in, and she's working with a sacred geometry that came in also. That's really fabulous. So you might want to stay tuned for that. And I will be presenting the next fourth, fifth, and sixth of the family of geometries that I've been privileged to bring in tonight at 8:45. So if you get a chance to check in, please do.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
We'll
so much.
sign
Thank
off
you.
now. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And thank you.
Bye.